let's talk about Aquarius 7th house. So I'm continuing my 7th house series. I've already done all the signs leading up to Aquarius. Before I get into it, feel free to like and subscribe if you feel so inclined and you enjoy my content. I have my email in the description. I also have my website in the description if you would like to book a reading with me. And I just created an email list not too long ago, and if you sign up, you will be receiving exclusive discounts and also exclusive astrological insights and forecasts, which I will be sending on a weekly basis. Okay, let's get into it. Aquarius is a very quirky, unconventional, atypical sign. So when it's associated with the 7th house of relationships, this can just note having a very bizarre and unpredictable romantic life, marital life. So in the dating world, like as you're getting your feet wet and going through the motions of dating and whatever, you can attract, there's no consistency here basically in terms of what you can attract. Similar to Gemini 7th house, you can date all types of people. Now, Aquarius is also a controversial sign. You might go after people who are controversial, people who are kind of like on the fringes of society. You can go for the rebels, the underdogs, the anarchists. Like, you can be attracted to people who, you know, the bad boys, the adrenaline junkies, people who in some cases might not necessarily make the best partners, at least during the time frame in which you meet them. And you can be attracted to people too who don't have the same societal kind of like appreciation for marriage the way that a lot of us do. So you might be attracted to people who are non-committal, people who don't really see the point in monogamy. And even if they do enjoy monogamy, there's still probably going to be something atypical and unconventional about them. Now, that said, you yourself can also be someone that maybe has some hangups when it comes to commitment, which is why you might feel so drawn to people who are very different by society's standards, because it's in alignment with some of your views and your values, which is very normal. So for Aquarius 7th house individual, you might not want to abide by a traditional or stereotypical relationship. You might prefer to create your own boundaries. You might prefer to like set your own rules in love. And this can note a kind of backwards process when it comes to dating. Like, you can meet your partner and have a kid first and then get married later. So the way that you go about the actual milestones of your relationship can be very different. I mean, this kind of reminds me of like people who don't want to like share a bedroom with their spouse. You know what I mean? Like, they need their privacy. So that can happen here too. It's not so much that you can't have a monogamous relationship. You absolutely can. You can have monogamy, you can get married, you can have the picket fence and the kids, but there might just be a couple things here and there that are a little bit different than how most couples do things. But that can actually be good because it can preserve your sanity, it can promote longevity because there's this sense of mutual respect. And when it comes to respect, a very common thing here is a friends to lovers pipeline. So if you have Aquarius 7th, you might find that you feel most attracted to people once you've developed a friendship with them. So it can be kind of hard to feel romantic feelings right away. In fact, romance can sometimes make you feel awkward at times, or like a little uncomfortable, even kind of bashful. There's a playful energy here, so when things get serious, it can feel kind of threatening, like, oh, okay. So you might prefer to be friends first. You can meet your partner through friends as well, so like mutual friends, meeting them in a group setting, meeting them in a social setting. You can also meet your partner through colleagues. In some cases, you can meet at work, just meeting through some type of mutual social group parameter, basically, like existing in the same social sphere essentially. So that's a common way that you can meet your partner. And like I said, for you, friendship is really important. Friendship can really set the tone of a healthy relationship. You need that sense of comfort. You need that platonic respect. So respect is very important here. So, you know, you might end up marrying a friend or someone who starts out as a friend. And the unpredictable nature of Aquarius can suggest that you can actually marry someone you did not expect to marry. So you might meet someone and you don't really think anything of them romantically, and then a year down the line you start seeing them in a romantic light and you're like, oh my gosh, what is happening? And you can also marry someone who doesn't fit perhaps your idea of who you thought you'd marry. Now keep in mind, Aquarius 7th house, it doesn't necessarily have a type per se, but you know, everybody kind of has an idea of the type of person they'll wind up with. Whether or not you actively go for that person and date that type of person, you still kind of have an idea in your head of who you'd like to settle down with. You can settle down with someone you never expected to settle down with. It's kind of funny. It's like you might go after the bad boys and then you end up marrying a good boy. You know what I mean? Like you end up marrying someone who, and that kind of brings me to my next thing, which is like, if you have Aquarius 7, you are at an increased potential of marrying someone who's very intelligent, someone who's good with technology, someone who's very good with science, medicine, someone who might even have an interest in like environmental matters, someone just really, really intelligent, someone good with math, someone just really intelligent. And so they might be a nerd. They might be kind of dorky. They might be really into video games, reading, philosophy. So you can actually end up marrying someone who is more on the like, you know, like the safer side. They might be like, they might spend their time at home reading as opposed to like going out and being wild. And sometimes you get the best of both worlds, but it's cute because the unconventional wild nature of Aquarius can sometimes attract the opposite. Now, because again, Aquarius is very unpredictable, you are at an increased, the odds are higher when it comes to experiencing a lot of unpredictable events within your marriage and within your relationship. So this is kind of like, this is where things can get tricky, basically. You really want to carefully vet your partner before you marry them, because you can attract people who are full of surprises. This isn't necessarily a bad thing, but in some cases, it kind of could be, because you can have a partner who you think you know them really well and then you find out you don't. And rather than it being a happy surprise, like, oh, I didn't know that about you, that's so cute. It's like, oh, you're actually like a terrible person and I had no idea. How did I miss this? Your partner can be very surprising to you. So you want to carefully vet your partners, and that's why developing friendship first is so important. That way you're not blindsided down the line. Being friends first, it helps you to, you know, there's more honesty amongst friends. When you're dating and you know, undergoing that courtship process, there's a little fabrication. We're all putting on our best mask, right? But with friends, it's a lot more casual. There's no need to hide. You know what I mean? There's like that sense of trust and unconditional love that, in my opinion, is more accessible in friendships. That is why being friends first is really important, because again, you're more likely to date people who are kind of surprising, and that isn't always going to be favorable. So vet your partner, make sure they're full of good surprises, not crazy things that can come out of left field. And like, you don't want to find out your partner, you don't want to find out 5 years into the relationship, maybe you're approaching your wedding, and you find out your partner is like $100,000 in debt and they didn't tell you. That's kind of the stuff I'm talking about here. You really want to vet your partner. You want to avoid unexpected, unfavorable surprises. Now, this surprising nature, in going back to like the type of people you might like to date, you might also date people for the novelty, just for the experience. Similar to Cap 7th, you can also be attracted to power dynamics in relationships. So you can be attracted to older people, you can be attracted to teachers, professors, you know, superiors. Even though Aquarius is very rebellious and tends to resist authority, when it comes to the 7th house, there's kind of there's an attraction, like a dangerous attraction there. So you can actually kind of enjoy the power dynamic that comes with relationships like that because you like the novelty of it. It makes for a good story. So sometimes your dating choices can be maybe you're not making a decision to date someone because you think it's going to last long term, but because it's kind of exciting and it's a new experience and you're just doing it so you can have that experience, and that's it. There's a sense of fun and whimsy here that can sometimes be taken a little bit too far. And the odd nature of Aquarius can put you in a marriage where it's like the odd couple. It's two people that on paper, it doesn't seem like they work, but it does. So that's kind of why I was like kind of laughing earlier is, you know, Aquarius 7th, you could wind up with someone who's just very different from you, but it's stimulating and somehow it works, right? Now, the good thing about Aquarius is it is a fixed sign. So there's longevity here. When you do get married, you can get married, like you can stay married. So the only reason why a separation would come about is again being surprised. So having a partner like reveal something about themselves that feels betraying because they were not upfront about it. That's really the only potential that could lead to a separation. Okay. Now, when you're with the right person for you and you get married, you're going to be with someone who, again, is very intelligent, someone patient as well, someone quirky, someone alternative. Your partner might be like neurodivergent or have some ADHD. They might just be mentally very, space cadet, I guess is also one word for it. Just cognitively a little bit different, but that can keep things very stimulating and mentally engaging. So communication is really important for your relationship and your marital life. You're probably going to be with someone who enjoys sharing their ideas and their opinions, and it's going to be very important that you're receptive to that. You want to avoid criticism, you want to avoid judgment. And the same goes for whoever's dating you. That can really ruin a relationship. The minute someone with a prominent Aquarius placement, I don't care if it's Sun, Mercury, rising, descendant, I don't care where it is, especially descendant in relationships, if you feel your opinion is being devalued or what you're saying is not important, you can end the relationship then and there. That just doesn't fly. It really doesn't. Now, again, you and your partner might have your own unique way of doing things in life. You might structure your life in unique ways. You might also, you and your partner just have very unique priorities. So for some, this could note opting out of having kids. That's not completely unheard of, and like choosing to just prioritize other aspects of your relationship and traveling and stuff. So basically your spouse and your relationship with them and your marital life can be a mixed bag. It can be unpredictable. So that's everything I can think of. That's a very fun one. Again, things are subject to change depending on what planets and celestial bodies are in your 7th and what your descendant is an aspect to. That can shift some things around, but that's like for the most part the gist. So I hope this resonated. You can leave a comment letting me know if it did, whether you have Aquarius 7th or you know someone or you're dating someone. I hope that this gave you some good insight. And again, my email's in the description. My website for bookings is in the description. Feel free to sign up for my email list, and also feel free to like and subscribe if you enjoy my content.